Hi guys, welcome to a very special episode of our podcast Talent First. Today I am in Manhattan, New York, where I'm talking to some of the big leaders in AI analytics who are handling big teams in the US and are from India. These guys also sort of left whatever they had in India with a aspiration, with a dream of building something big in the US, and they have done that. So trying to understand from their journey, their perspectives. So hi Aarti, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How's it going?
It's going beautiful. It's a nice rainy day. Patches of sunlight.
Two things you hate about New York.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Probably just the last few days.
Yeah.
It's been a different pattern from other years.
Okay.
The rain has been annoying. But in general, I love rain.
Right,
So,
right.
Two things. I think just one. Let's just stop at one. Yeah.
Okay.
It's also a busy town. Yeah. It's pretty much heads down work and.
But don't you prefer that? Like talking to you, whatever I've realized, you are a person who's all about work.
I am
Yeah.
a bit of a type A.
Yeah.
Although
Well, what is type A, type B? Can you explain?
it's in terms of Myers-Briggs, it's a personality test which kind of puts you in 4 categories, and type A is one of them. So the way I see it, the most important thing about me is I can't sit on my hands. So I have to, idle time is not pleasurable to me.
Really? How do you relax? Like, don't you need something to easen up? Like, then also you work? Or
No, some amount of relaxation is obviously needed. Rest
Yeah.
is needed to recharge.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what I mean by that is if you had to put me on a beach for 7 days, I would get insanely bored. 3 days is the max I can take off a beach. But
Wow.
so for that way, I like challenging work. I like to do meaningful work, and I like to keep my mind engaged. So yeah.
When you say I like to keep my mind engaged, one is obviously your work. The other is sort of having a very analytical mind. You are an analytic, that's why I'm asking you. So do you have a very analytical mind that is you're always over-analyzing things?
I think I have done better over the years. I have
Yeah.
learned
Yeah.
when to stop analyzing. So analysis paralysis, I don't think I quite ever had a problem with it.
Yeah.
But I've constantly kept conscious of it. And so I've read about it. I am a curious person by nature. So if
Yeah.
I'm crossing a bridge, I'll notice the beams and the balance of the bridge, and I'll be to myself or whoever's with me, how does this thing work?
Yeah.
Why is that like that?
Right.
So that way I'm passionately curious. That is one of the probably the only talents I have. I'm passionately curious. But over the years, I've also learned that it's important to relax and rest, because you can burn out from your own analytical, and you can go into loops of thoughts, which doesn't serve.
This analytical mind frame, right? And these loops of thought that you're saying, don't you sometimes feel that it is very Indian to have that? Like when I also I have friends who are I've studied in the US, and I used to sometimes think in the evening or at night that if I had to distinguish between my Indian friends and my American friends, how would I? And then the thought that used to come in my mind was that my Indian friends analyze or overanalyze more. Like they are more, they think more about certain things or certain actions. Generally, the Westerners or people who are not from a developing economy per se are more, how to put it, they are what they are. They don't think that much. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that per se. I think it does probably certain people, and
Sure.
I think in my experience, it's a lot of times what you do day in and day out.
Yeah.
It kind of shapes you too. I've worked
Yeah.
now in technology and cybersecurity for a little while. So the job itself lends itself to analytical thinking, critical thinking,
Yeah.
right? Anticipating ahead of time. So it does put you in a place where you're constantly acting like a scrutator and detecting things and trying to get ahead of the game. But I've noticed people that are non-Indians where I've had challenges. I'm like, okay, let's not overanalyze the problem, right? We found a logical point. Let's move from one point to another.
Right.
Break a bigger problem into pieces if that bogs you down.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I've seen that pattern in non-Indians too. But yeah, I don't think Indians have a tendency to overanalyze per se. Not
Fair
my
enough,
experience.
fair enough. We can have two different perspectives, that's fine.
Yeah.
Now, tell us, how did this thought about coming to the US came? Because if I'm not wrong, you are from the north part of this country, of India. Where are you from?
Gurgaon.
Gurgaon.
Yes.
Haryana, like that, in Delhi, NCR kind of belt.
Yes.
So, when did you think of coming to the US, and what was that one catalyst that made you think of it?
Interesting. I don't think at least initially when I came here, I didn't consciously decide to come here.
But did your parents tell you to come here?
No. So after college, my first job, I was in working with a company that was based in San Francisco.
Okay.
And I worked with them for 3 or 4 months, and then they asked me to come to America.
And this is 2000?
This is 2004.
Oh, that's like, now that I think of it, H1B and all would be comparatively very easier at that time, right? To get.
Yeah, I first came on an L1 visa, which is an intercompany transfer.
Okay, okay.
And then later on, I got onto the H1B.
So when you initially came, did you really think that you will settle here, or you were like, चलो चले जाते हैं थोड़ा, like for some time? You understand Hindi, right?
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
बिल्कुल, right? So आपने ऐसे सोचा कि चलो चले जाते हैं अभी कुछ टाइम के लिए देख लेंगे, फिर वापस आ जाएंगे. और ये थॉट थी कि मैं रहूँगी वहाँ पे.
जब शुरू में जब मुझे पता लगा कि यहाँ पर आने का मौका है, I was very excited. Because movies में इतना कुछ देखा था ना.
उस टाइम पे तो शाहरुख खान की मूवीज चलती थी ना, जो यूएस को दिखाती थी, like
क्या था?
कल होना होगा,
कुछ होता है, और वो हाँ. K3 जी तो बाद में आई थी. पर हाँ, जब पहली बार आई थी तो मुझे अमेरिका बहुत अच्छा लगा. The first time I was here, सैन फ्रांसिस्को में थी. और मेरे जो कोवर्कर्स थे, मेरे जो mentors थे ऑफिस में, they were all very helpful. It didn't feel like work. It was more like a mix of both work and life in the same span. The job was tough, but that I knew. India में भी कोई ऐसी easy तो नहीं थी job. पर यहाँ पर आके मुझे 2 चीज़ें बहुत अच्छी लगी थी. यहाँ का infrastructure और safety. The fact that I could be out until late in the evening and not have to worry about कि मुझे साथ में किसके साथ घर जाना है या किसको फ़ोन करके बताना है. वो चीज़ मुझे कभी इंडिया में कभी नहीं, सेफ्टी मुझे कभी फील नहीं हुई इंडिया में. तो यहाँ पर द फर्स्ट टाइम आई वाज हियर आई वाज हुक्ड. मुझे पता था कि मैं यहीं रहूँगी.
जब आप when you came here, right, like did you not like feel like lonely, like you come like to an alien country? I'm assuming you came when you were 21, 22. I'm assuming you also had some friends, family back home. तो याद नहीं आती थी, homesick नहीं होते थे आप, lonely feel नहीं होता था?
होता था, बहुत होता था.
Right. How did you get out of it?
एक तो मुझे लगता है जो काम मैं करती थी, that was truly things that I loved.
Like?
I joined as a data warehousing analyst. तो जब इंडिया में थी, I trained on Teradata and mainframe.
Oh, okay.
So at that time, इतना जो AI का अब जो हाइप है वो तब नहीं था. बट मुझे तब भी पता था कि हमारी लाइफ टाइम का डेटा इज गोना बी द pedestal of our life.
2004 you could see that.
I could see that.
And what made you see it?
तो जो मेरा जो पहला प्रोजेक्ट था वहाँ पर, and I would credit my boss at that time, my manager at that time. He was more of a mentor too.
Sure.
Forever thankful to him. Both the Indian manager as well as the manager in America. The client side manager. दोनों ने मुझे कोच किया, encourage किया, and they saw the potential in me. But the first project we did, it was taking data from mainframes, a mainframe computer, to Teradata, and then building a decision support system on it. In the first year that I worked with both my managers, I could see the end-to-end effect of it. कैसे काम जब हमने शुरू किया था, हमें नहीं पता था हम क्या कर रहे हैं. लेकिन जैसे जैसे हम डेटा को देखते गए, हमें समझ में आने लगा इस डेटा से हम कर क्या सकते हैं. Eventually, that was a shipping and logistics company, जिस पहली कंपनी के साथ जब मैंने काम किया था. पर उस कंपनी में हमें पता लगा we could actually analyze the profitability of the different clients that the company was serving.
Wow.
And we could choose to serve certain clients in a certain way and other clients in a different way.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
We could manage our expenses, revenues, keeping in mind what the client means to us. and it also meant we could operationalize our business in a different way. मतलब कौन से employees कहाँ पर काम करें, कौन से divisions हैं जिनको छोटा कर सकते हैं, headcount कम कर सकते हैं, कौन से divisions में headcount ज़्यादा करना चाहिए. तो वो सारी चीज़ें, और दूसरा अकाउंटिंग का इम्पैक्ट भी मुझे उस प्रोजेक्ट में पता चला. जैसे जैसे हमने देखा कि वो फाइनेंशियल डिसीजंस इस डिसीजन सपोर्ट सिस्टम से निकल सकते हैं, आई सॉ दैट डेटा फ्लोइंग इनटू द बुक्स एंड लेजर्स एंड द अकाउंटिंग. तो वो भी समझ में आया कि कंपनीज जो हैं अकाउंट कैसे मूव करते हैं.
It's very complicated.
Yes.
And
but
it's very simple also.
Yes.
एक बार समझ आ जाता है, it's very simple.
सब कुछ हाइंडसाइट में सिंपल लगता है.
उस टाइम पे बड़ा वो लगा क्या है.
हाँ. पर उस टाइम पे सब मुश्किल लगता था. मुझे ऑफिस में लोग बोलते थे मिस 9 to 9.
क्यों, आप बस पूरे टाइम काम करती थी?
सुबह 9 बजे फिर रात को 9 बजे.
Seriously?
The thing is मुझे कभी पता नहीं चला.
तो आप मतलब कुछ नहीं अपनी लाइफ में उस टाइम पे मतलब घूमना?
ऐसा नहीं है.
You were having fun also?
बहुत फन था. Like I said, there was a family type of atmosphere at work too.
Yeah.
We were learning together.
Wow.
We would hang out together. Our managers were also our mentors. At least mine were.
Yeah.
I had some experiences
which
were
your mentors / managers from the time, if you go to remember?
Yes, I still message them every now and then.
Nice.
Dheeraj Talwar and Mari Sabaya.
Wow.
Those two were my managers at that time,
Yes.
and they were both incredible mentors to me.
Yeah.
And
I hope आपने भी like what they did to for you. I hope you have also tried to do something similar for people.
I try.
Yeah.
I try.
It should be a chain, right?
Yes.
If you got that
you
love,
give
you have to give it back.
Yes. I try. It took me a while to get to the level where they were, right? The story changed a little bit. So I had a lot of success in the beginning. Right? Uske baad, I left that company, joined another company, Royal Bank of Scotland, went to London for a bit. Then I got married. And that's when the change truly happened. What happened was when I got married and came back to the US, this time visa नहीं लगा lottery में.
अच्छा, you were coming from the UK or from India? कहाँ से आ रहे थे?
So UK was on a visa, London visa, right? So the UK visa. But when I came back to the US, I needed an American visa. I came on a dependent visa when I got married this time.
Yeah.
Right? Or I was so sure everything would just pan out because पहले कभी problem नहीं हुई.
Right.
This time, just luck would have it, lottery में visa नहीं आया. So शुरू में it was a shocker. I'm like, shucks. जो सारा जो career बनाया है, पता नहीं कहाँ क्या होगा. ये हो गया अब 2007 की बात हो गई.
अच्छा, this is the time of financial crisis also आने वाले थे.
Yes, उस टाइम पे.
Oh shit.
But again, ये सारी चीजें ना hindsight में सोच के बहुत amusing लगती है. But तब भी ऐसा नहीं था that I was.
मतलब I think when you are in that moment, when you are working, nothing matters. You get through anything.
That's true.
That's what it is, right?
That's true. I think I've always been a person who saw a way out. Who saw another door opening.
You're positive.
I have always been like that and not consciously.
Yeah.
उस टाइम पे भी जब लॉटरी में वीज़ा नहीं लगा तो नहीं लगा, कोई बात नहीं, कुछ और कर लेंगे. I remember उस टाइम पे 6 महीने मैंने एक जॉब की एक छोटी सी शॉप में जिनका एक इम्पोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट का बिजनेस था इंडिया से, and I was just fixing their printers and वो मुझे बहुत मुश्किल लगा था.
ये आपने की थी?
Yes. क्योंकि उस टाइम पे वीज़ा नहीं था. तो I had to do something, right? तो I'm like मुझे कुछ ना कुछ तो करना है to stay in that learning mode. I'm like let's see ये लोग करते क्या हैं. तो वो मुझे बहुत difficult लगा था. There was a short period of my time where I realized what I don't want to do.
तो confidence थोड़ा आपको hit हुआ उस time पे?
हाँ, फर्क तो पड़ा था. पर मुझे उससे
कैसे emerge किया आपने उससे?
मुझे उससे पता लग गया कि मुझे क्या नहीं करना है.
क्या नहीं करना?
क्या नहीं मुझे I need to see work that is impactful.
Yeah.
Right? Work that gives me a paycheck, but it doesn't give me a sense of forward momentum.
Yeah.
नहीं करना, चाहे पैसे भी मिल रहे हैं.
Yeah, obviously.
Right? तो वो जॉब मैंने 6 महीने में छोड़ दी. I don't think I was making anyone happy there either.
Sure.
पर उसके बाद I did my MBA. Like ठीक है, 1-1.5 साल का गैप है.
Yeah.
तो उस टाइम पे मैंने MBA की अकाउंटिंग में.
Why accounting?
So I think जो पिछली कंपनीज है मुझे थोड़ा
मजा आया था accounting.
हाँ, I got hooked to the idea of let me figure out how does the finances of a company work, right? और दूसरा 1.5 साल बाद जब मैंने MBA ख़त्म किया,
Right.
it somehow there is a cosmic connection between things. जब मैंने अकाउंटिंग किया था, आई वाज इंटरेस्टेड इन फाइनेंस, पर मुझे नहीं मालूम था कि मैं नेक्स्ट जॉब कहाँ करने वाली हूँ. जैसे ही मैंने वो डिग्री ख़त्म की, आई गॉट एन ऑफर फ्रॉम गोल्डमैन सैक्स.
Wow, and you had not applied or you had applied?
Of course I had applied. Right? So I was looking, right, जब MBA ख़त्म हो रहे थे.
Randomly you were like looking at many places.
हाँ.
Not कि Goldman.
हाँ, गोल्डमैन पे कोई आइज़ नहीं थी.
A lot of people are like very desperate about Goldman. It's a very big deal, right?
मुझे पता ही नहीं था गोल्डमैन के बारे में, honestly. Yes.
थोड़ा Goldman Sachs में काम करने के कुछ perks क्या क्या होते हैं? मतलब I've heard कि उनके जिम है बहुत बड़ा, कोई कैफेटेरिया, थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन करो आप.
Okay. आई थिंक लोगों को वो चीज़ें अच्छी लगती हैं. मेरे को मुझे कभी नोटिस ही नहीं हुई. राइट. तो अगेन मेरा फोकस जो था हमेशा उस चीज़ पर था, मैं क्या इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ कर रही हूँ यहाँ पर. व्हेन आई जॉइन, आई वाज पार्ट ऑफ ए फाइनेंशियल टेक डिवीजन. ये जो सारे पर्क्स थे, जिम वाज इनक्रेडिबल. यस. फूड, कैफेटेरिया की कभी टेंशन नहीं होती थी. लाइक लंच नहीं घर से पैक किया, हमेशा ऑफिस में ही खाते थे. वेरी स्मार्ट कोवर्कर्स. I guess मेरे 20 years of my career, I think the smartest people I met were at Goldman Sachs. Right? And that does something to you, just seeing people around you who are so driven, who are constantly challenging you. That was my best takeaway from Goldman. And I want to be among those kind of people. But I stayed there for 10 years. The perks were good. The pay was all right. And that is something I did not realize for a while.
How did you realize it?
I started interviewing at other places. And then I started realizing I am not even asking for what I'm worth.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And most of the times the way I was asking for it was more like, can I get something like that? Right? I was not sure of myself. I was not assertive enough. So most of the times I was not getting what I thought I could get. Right? So
Big learning.
Big learning.
Yeah.
You can be in the most interesting of spaces, but you can let those opportunities go if you don't grab them. Grab the bull by the horns, right? So, कई जगहों पे you have to be, you have to see the opportunity and act boldly. I think मुझे लगता है जब मैं अपने career के beginning में थी, I was way bolder. But something that Goldman did to me, and something being between all those smart people did to me, probably was I didn't think I was that smart. For a long time I thought that, they call it, I came to know of this term later on, imposter syndrome. मुझे नहीं लगता था कि मेरे में कुछ खास है. Right? So, but जब और लोगों को देखती थी, I'm like, these guys are amazing. ये लोग कैसे कर रहे हैं? ये लोग कैसे सीख रहे हैं? And there was a opportunity platform that you create for yourself. When you put yourself out there for scary things, for risky things, you create opportunities because you learn from each one of them. Even if you're not successful, you learn, and it gives you more and more confidence.
Yeah.
But for a while, I think at Goldman, I never quite asked for what I thought I could do, right? And I quite wasn't as confident in things that I was doing. But I think over the years, however, during those 10 years, I started realizing what I wanted to do. Right? I wanted to be more impactful. I started watching not just my peers, my superiors and their superiors. Right? And then I realized that it is important to have a North Star for yourself.
What is a North Star right now?
I think I have realized I like learning. Learning is what drives me. Right? Eventually, I want to learn and I want to create something, build something that will, we're talking about AI, we're talking about a lot of things in this time frame which are ahead of their times now, which feel ahead of their times now. But I think I want to do something that has been on my mind for a while and do that with confidence.
What is stopping you?
Nothing. Nothing's stopping me. It's just my own self. I think I have to get to and maybe there is something I can take shortcuts on or shorter paths on. But I'm probably trying to get to a place where I feel like I know this like the back of my hand. Right? So I think Goldman say Salesforce, or for Salesforce ke baad, I am working at a fintech company now. It's much smaller. But the way I'm seeing it is a slingshot. Right? So I'm narrowing my aperture because I know that I need to learn something about how to run an organization.
Right now you are like managing a proper team, right?
Yes.
How big is the team?
I run the IT and security team here. It's 8 people.
Yeah.
And I look into the infrastructure aspects of the company as well. And building on the opportunities. But my motive here is, I am a cybersecurity professional for the last 12 years or so.
Yeah.
But my motive is to learn how to run a business, how to build something from the scratch. I think over these many years, I have built some level of grit and courage.
I'm sure.
And now I want to put that into practice, but smartly. So I want to see how these small to mid-sized companies, how they scale, right, from a technology perspective, from people perspective. But more importantly, I'm also observing the leaders of these companies, right? How do they keep themselves in the game? Because it is, there are times when you just feel like, oh my God, it's not going to happen. Where is this going? Because there are people you have to manage, there's technology you have to manage, there's regulations, right? And everything is very much in a changeable environment right now. So it's easy to feel like, bahut mushkil hai. Right? But I think one day at a time, you have to stay courage over, I think, genius. In what I've realized in my experience is it takes more courage than genius to make it. And we don't realize it when we are in that path to making, that we are making it. I don't think Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or any of these bigwigs now, when they were going through that trajectory, they did not know where they would land. But they knew what kept them going. And they were true to their convictions.
So if we like try to understand your entire journey, and if we try to sort of like look at certain milestones that you would think that have defined that journey, tell me 3 or 4 milestones that have defined that journey, and introspect a bit, if you can, while talking about those milestones.
The first one was certainly when the first time, it was probably a milestone itself. The entire first job was a milestone. After college, I enrolled for it was the same company, they were offering an internship and then the paths to employment.
PPO, replacement offer, or something like that.
Right. I think the first job that I did, even before, so this was Keen. Before Keen, I worked for Daksh, it was a BPO, 6 months.
Okay.
That was the last year of college.
Okay.
Right. So
How was that experience?
they came to campus. I found it very hard.
Very hard, right?
Very hard.
I have realized like people who work in like BPOs and all of that, respect. I don't know how they do it.
Oh my God, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and they still do it.
Yeah, but it was working at nights and I was just petrified, just talking to the customers on the phone and having to figure out in the nick of time what needs to be done to fix it for them. Honestly, I wasn't technically as savvy too at that time. But learning, again, you have to put yourself into things that are more challenging because that's how you grow. I don't think people who are comfortable, they learn much in life.
So now...
So you asked 3 milestones, right? So one was the first time that I came to the US. That was certainly a moment of joy. Right? It felt like I was doing something right in my life. And I think the fact that I had the support from the people who, most of the time people have a hard time finding support from their mentors and managers. I was lucky to find that support at the right time, and that encouragement felt like I was in the right place.
Sorry to break your flow there, but when people talk about their mentors, their mentee or whatever, it's a two-way street. Now, as a mentee, what did you think you did right, that you got the right mentors who sort of supported you for long? You must have also done something right.
I think I was always concerned about making my manager successful.
Making your manager successful?
Yes.
I like it.
I was always concerned that am I doing something to make their life easier? And the other thing was I was authentic. If I was not happy with something, if there was a decision that I was disagreeing on, I was not talking about it to others. It's like if you have a gripe, say it to someone rather than about them, making it about them. So I think I was very candid in my conversations with my managers. That led to a level of trust. And I don't think I did everything right, but hopefully most things reasonably right.
Obviously. Wow. First, that was the first milestone, getting your job, coming to the US. Second milestone probably would be
Life milestone, not a career milestone per se. I was very happy when I married.
oh, nice.
Yeah, the guy I married, he's the kindest person I have known.
What does he
And
do?
he works in the banking industry too.
Nice.
Yeah, investment
And
banking.
how did you meet him?
So we met during one of my visits to the United States.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it turns out his parents were from Delhi, and his mom was my teacher at school.
Oh, wow.
So
That's crazy.
it's funny that
You were in DPS.
yes,
DPS Argyvoram.
yeah, he was he was in the same school as me.
Yeah, yeah.
I think 4 or 5 years ahead of me, but his mom was one of my teachers,
Wow.
and I only realized after I met him. But when we were younger at school,
Crazy.
everybody knew his mom.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's
DPS Argyvoram is very strict, right? A lot of studying there. No? It's a very rigorous school, no?
again, I think a school full of smart people.
Yeah, very smart.
Yes, you make yourself what you want to be there. I
It's
think
a
there's
very big class also.
yes, I think in
15 sections. Or something.
yeah 10th 11th grade we had 20 sections
Yeah,
or something.
something like that.
So you can get lost in the crowd.
Yeah,
And a
yeah.
lot of people do.
Yeah.
If I had to do it over again, I don't know if I would go back to DPS.
Yeah, agreed, obviously.
Yeah. Although, again, it teaches you a lot, right? So there was constantly a focus on excellence. That is the thing that I correlate between DPS and
Yeah.
Goldman a lot. The focus on being better, being excellent,
Yeah.
go beyond your comfort zone.
Yeah, yeah.
Those things are great.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, first milestone I understood, second we understood. What is the third one?
Getting to Goldman was a milestone.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't think I enjoyed my.
Tell me one thing, when you got into Goldman, before you got in and after you got in, when you used to go to a party or when you used to go to like a whatever, meetup or whatever, and you used to tell people I'm working in XYZ, and now when you start saying I work in Goldman, how did your life change? Did the way people started talking to you change? The perception about you changed?
Definitely.
Right? People are so predictable.
Definitely.
So easy to predict people, right?
Yes. Goldman is a brand.
Yeah.
It is the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
Once you go to Goldman, I think people see you with different eyes.
Yeah. Even if you are the same,
Even if you're the same.
the things has changed.
But the thing is, you'll never be the same after you've been there.
That's also a valid point.
Yeah. So you would have learned a lot. I think that place teaches you a lot, right? And not just in terms of technology. It exposes you in many different ways. You get a lot of ownership on things. You see both sides of what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah.
It also challenges you to be brave.
Yeah.
So if you're not brave, you'll probably not make it much far ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Which is why it forced me to really think about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right? I work hard, but is it
Enough.
leading to the outcomes that the company cares for?
Yeah.
So yeah, those learnings and those visualizations came with time. Yeah, that was there, certainly.
So if I had to ask you, like, if you could describe an average employee in Goldman, how would you describe them?
So depending on the division you're in,
Let's say investment bank. You were in which AI? Like
I was in financial tech.
financial. So let's talk about financial tech.
Yeah, so on a day-to-day basis, you will not feel the difference, right? So, but you see the difference like year over year, 2 years, 3 years.
It compounds.
Yes, and only if you are introspecting. So it's easy to get swept in the tide and not realize anything too, because it is busy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? But I think people are, if you go and ask people at NASA, they don't see themselves differently. They don't see themselves as geniuses.
Yeah, obviously.
Right? And I think I was reading this survey that they did to people at NASA that how did you turn out so smart? They're like, we're not smart. We just practice.
Yeah,
And whatever we learn, we practice it over and over again, so we become better at it.
yeah, yeah.
But I think it's like that. The people seem like very similar to anybody else you would meet anywhere else, right? There are some people, though, who will be more motivated and driven than others. And when you see them, the purpose with which they come, the work ethic, right? The amount of learning they have, you will learn a lot when you're around them, and you will feel like, I want to be around this person. because today I learned something, because this week was exciting.
Yeah.
Right? Because this person puts you onto the next opportunity. They see the market in a different way. They see technology for what is coming, right? And they tell you about it. So they share it too. So I feel like on a day-to-day basis, you'll be working with all sorts of people and you'll not feel the difference. But if you stop and introspect and you decide, who is it that I'm following? Who's my role model? Then you see those people who are putting in more than the average person.
Perfect. And final milestone for you, being on the entrepreneurial side, not exactly an entrepreneur, but now you're an entrepreneur or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Because the kind of company you're telling me yours is, it looks like a more leaner setup, more focused. So everyone has to be you have to have ownership.
Yes.
Of whatever you're doing. I think that's something different.
It is different. It is a smaller company, so
Yeah.
fewer people. We also have to be very mindful of the business staying profitable.
Yeah.
So everybody in a smaller company contributes.
Expenses
Yes.
look very deeply.
Yes.
Which is a very good learning.
Yeah.
I think that is something that that's how fundamental businesses are built. You have to be frugal. There is no other way there. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I think your entire journey, obviously, I think through these questions, I think you got a very good sense of it. But now I also want to go on a different tangent. And I tend to do this whenever I get an opportunity to talk to a female leader. And that's because I feel that the representation for females, for women in tech is way, way lower than it should be. So anyone that I meet, I ask the same questions. And the goal is just so that it sort of inspires or gives confidence to young girls or girls, ladies who want to build something in tech. Now, if I had to ask you, let us say that a young 24-year-old girl from India wants to sort of build her career in the US. What would you tell her?
Two things I would say, right? One is stay humble, right? You will feel oftentimes, अरे ये तो मैं भी कर सकती हूँ, ये तो कोई भी कर सकता है. इतना आसान होता तो सब कर चुके होते. So one thing is stay humble.
Right.
When you are humble, you will notice a lot of learning around you. Yeah. Arrogance hides away a lot of those learnings.
Very true.
Right? So that's one thing. The second thing, everything is figure outable. Right? So don't see yourself as मुझे ये नहीं आता, इसको मुझसे अच्छा आता है. It's just a matter of taking the first step. Every step you take moves you towards an exponential growth. पता भी नहीं लगता कई बार कि एक छोटा स्टेप आपको कितना आगे पहुंचा देता है. It's just a matter of leaving that fear behind and just do it.
Yeah.
Next step, एक step, take one step today. Take one step next week. You will see इतना difficult कुछ भी नहीं है. आप जिसको भी emulate कर रहे हो कि उसको सब कुछ आता है, मुझे नहीं आता, the only difference is practice. The only difference is उसने कुछ डिसाइड कर लिया करने का, उसको थोड़ा थोड़ा करके भी करोगे तो भी बहुत फ़र्क पड़ जाता है. तो मुझे अपनी लाइफ में ऐसा लगा है कि जब भी मैंने सोचा ना कि ये मैं करके देखती हूँ, राइट, वो सब आसान हो जाता है. So those are the two things. Stay humble, stay hungry, and figure things. Be on that path to figure things out. Nothing is rocket science. Not even rocket science.
Very, very well put. Very well explained. And I have to give you this, that this is actually a very good conversation. I do many of these podcasts and all. Some are very good, some are average, some are not that great. But there are a few that I genuinely really enjoy speaking. And I think this was one of them. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.